Tibetan grammar describes the morphology, syntax and other grammatical features of the Tibetan language, the language and dialects of the Tibetan people spoken across a wide area of eastern Central Asia. Generally considered a member of the Tibeto-Burman language family, typologically Tibetan is classified as an ergative-absolutive language. Nouns are generally unmarked for grammatical number but are marked for case. Adjectives are never marked and appear after the noun. Demonstratives also come after the noun but these are marked for number. Verbs are possibly the most complicated part of Tibetan grammar in terms of morphology. The dialect described here is the colloquial language of Central Tibet, especially Lhasa and the surrounding area, but the spelling used reflects classical Tibetan, not the colloquial pronunciation. Nouns and case. Nouns are not usually marked for grammatical gender or number. Natural gender may be conveyed through the lexicon, for example a 1/2 a 1/2 1/2 a 1/4 gyag yak, a 1/2 a 1/2 a 3/4 squared a 1/2 squared a 1/4 bra yak cow. In human or animate nouns, gender may be indicated through suffixes. These suffixes are generally a 1/2 a 1/4 pa or a 1/2 a 1/2 1/4 a 1/4 po male, and a 1/2 a 1/4 ma or a 1/2 a 1/2 1/4 a 1/4 mo female. Number is never marked in inanimate nouns or animals. Even human nouns can only take the plural marker a 1/2 sha 1/2 1/4 a 1/4 tsho if they are specified or definite, for example a 1/2 t 1/4 a 1/2 a 1/4 a ma mother a 1/2 t 1/4 a 1/2 a 1/4 a 1/2 sha 1/2 1/4 a 1/4 a ma tsho, the mothers. Tibetan does not mark definiteness, and such a meaning would be left to be deduced from the context. Tibetan nouns are marked for 6 cases: absolutive, agentive, genitive, ablative, associative and oblique. Particles are attached to entire noun phrases, not to individual nouns. Case suffixes are attached to the noun phrase as a whole, while the actual noun remains unchanged. The form taken by the suffix depends on the final sound of the noun to which the suffix is attached. Absolutive case. The absolutive case is the unmarked form of the noun, which may be used as the subject of an intransitive verb, the object of a transitive verb or the experiencer of an emotion. Genitive case. The genitive case marks possession and is often translated as of. The form of the genitive suffix depends on the last sound of the noun. If the last sound is a vowel or a 1/2 or 1/4, then the suffix is a 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 I. If the last sound is a 1/2 or 1/4 g, or a 1/2 or 1/4 ng, then the suffix is a 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 gi. If the last sound is a 1/2 or 1/4 d, a 1/2 or 1/4 b, a 1/2 1/4 s, or one of the secondary sound suffixes, then the genitive suffix is a 1/2 euro a 3/4 plus or minus a 1/2 squared or 1/4 ki. If the last sound is a 1/2 or 1/4 n, a 1/2 or 1/4 m, a 1/2 number 1/4 r, or a 1/2 1/4 l, then the suffix is a 1/2 a 3/4 plus or minus a 1/2 squared or 1/4 gai. Wheel of Dharma, a 1/2 or 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 euro a 3/4 plus or minus a 1/2 squared or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 number 1/4 or 1/2 1/2 1/4, tros ki kolo. Skin of sheep, a 1/2 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 1/4 or 1/2, lug gi pags pa. The genitive is also used to form relative clauses. Here, the genitive suffix is attached to the verb and is translated as that, or, who. Agentive case. Formally the agentive case is built upon the genitive by adding a 1/2 1/4 s, to the latter. Consequently, if the last sound is a vowel or a 1/2 or 1/4 a, then the suffix is a 1/2 1/4 s, if the last sound is a 1/2 or 1/4 g, or a 1/2 or 1/4 ng, then the suffix is a 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/2 1/4 gis, if the last sound is a 1/2 or 1/4 d, a 1/2 or 1/4 b, a 1/2 1/4 s, or one of the secondary sound suffixes, then the genitive suffix is a 1/2 euro a 3/4 plus or minus a 1/2 squared or 1/2 1/4 kiri. if the last sound is a 1/2 or 1/4 n, a 1/2 or 1/4 m, a 1/2 number 1/4 r, or a 1/2 1/4 l, then the suffix is a 1/2 or 3/4 plus or minus a 1/2 squared or 1/2 1/4 jis. The agentive is used for ergative and instrumental functions. The ergative function occurs with the subject, agent or causer of the transitive verbs, the agent of mental and verbal actions and the perceiver of a sensation. Ablative case, the ablative case is always suffixed with a 1/2 or 1/2 1/4 nas. It marks direction away from the noun. Like the agentive case, the ablative can also take the ergative role marking the agent of an action. Associative case, the associative case is marked by the suffix a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 dang, which may be translated as, and, but also as with, against, or have no translation at all. When the associative case suffix is followed by a pause, for example, the associative suffix cannot combine with other case or plural markers on the same noun or noun phrase. Oblique case, the oblique suffix fulfills the functions of both the dative and locative cases. The dative case marks the indirect object of an action and can be translated as to. The locative case marks place, with or without movement, or time, and can be translated as on, in, at, or to. There are two varieties of the suffix, one of which is dependent on the final sound of the noun and one that is not. The former a 1/2 number 1/4 r, is found only after vowels and a 1/2 or 1/4 a, whereas a 1/2 1/4 la can be found after all sounds including vowels and a. The r form is rarely used to mark the dative with monosyllabic words except the personal pronouns and demonstrative and interrogative adjectives. Pronouns, personal pronouns. Pronouns have between 1 and 3 registers and 3 numbers, singular, dual and plural. Demonstrative pronouns, Tibetan has proximal, medial and distal demonstrative pronouns, proximal a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 d this, medial a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 d that, and distal a 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 fair gi that over there. A 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 d and a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 d also have temporal meanings where a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 d is connected with present and a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 d is connected with the past or the future. A 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 fair gi, on the other hand, can only express spatial distance. From these demonstrative pronouns the following adverbs are derived. A 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/2 number 1/4 de here, a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 number 1/4 de there, and a 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/2 number 1/4 fair ger over there. The demonstratives can be used as both pronouns and adjectives. As pronouns they act much in the same way as the third-person pronouns do, but may also refer to previous clauses or events. As adjectives they appear after the noun and act as any other adjective would. Both adjectival and pronominal demonstratives are capable of receiving both case and number suffixes. Verb classes, volitional and non-volitional classes. There is an important division of verbs into two main classes, volitional and non-volitional. The former concerns controllable actions, and the latter non-controllable actions. This difference is comparable to that in English between look and see, and between listen and hear. Listen and look are volitional because you can choose to do them or not, while see and hear are non-volitional because they do not denote deliberate actions. These two classes are important when conjugating any Tibetan verb because each class can only use a certain set of suffixes. This means that volitional verbs cannot use the same suffixes as non-volitional verbs and vice versa. For example, the verb form a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 1/2 squared or 1/2 or 1/4 mthong pa yin would be incorrect as mthong is a non-volitional verb and pa yin is a volitional suffix. The correct form would be a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 mthong pa read or I saw. Transitive and intransitive verbs. Both the volitional and non-volitional classes contain transitive as well as intransitive verbs. The forms of transitive and intransitive verbs remain the same if the two verbs share the same root. The difference between transitive and intransitive is only evident in the way each verb is used. If the verb takes an object, then it is transitive; if it does not, then it is intransitive. This distinction determines which case the nouns will take. Verb inflection. Verbs in modern spoken Tibetan have between 1 and 3 stems. These are the present future stem, the past stem and the imperative stem. Many verbs, however, only have one stem when spoken, remaining distinct only in writing, meaning that inflection is based mainly on the use of verbal auxiliaries. The verb is inflected by means of attaching suffixes to the verb stem in a similar way to nouns and pronouns. Copulars. Tibetan has several verbs that can be translated as to be, or to have, which appear in 2 classes. Copulars in the first class are essential, meaning that they denote an essential quality of the noun. Copulars in the second class are existential, meaning that they express the existence of a phenomenon or a characteristic and suggests an evaluation by the speaker. The difference between essential and existential copulars is similar to that of the verbs estar and ser in the Spanish language. Essential copulars. There are 3 essential copulars: assertive a 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red, revelatory a 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red bzhag, and egophoric a 1/2 squared a 1/2 or 1/4 yin. Essential assertive copula. A 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red is the assertive essential copula. It translates as to be, and represents an objective assertion or affirmation regarding the subject of the sentence. The negative of a 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red is a 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 ma red. The attribute may be an adjective, giving an attributive meaning, or a substantive, giving an equative meaning. The attributive immediately precedes the verb. This copula, in rare cases, may also express possession of a quality. Essential revelatory copula. A 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red bzhag is the revelatory copula, meaning that the speaker has only recently become aware of what they're stating. It may be translated as to be with the statement preceded by an exclamation such as hey or why. Its negative form is a 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red me dug. Essential egophoric copula. A 1/2 squared or 1/2 or 1/4 yin is the egophoric essential copula. It is usually translated as I am, because of its main use with the first person. Like a 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 red, it can be used with adjectives or substantives. Its negative form is a 1/2 or 1/2 squared or 1/2 or 1/4 min. A 1/2 squared or 1/2 or 1/4 yin may, on rare occasions, express an intention or an insistence on the part of the speaker. Existential copulars. There are 3 existential copulars: assertive a 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 yard red, testimonial a 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 dug, and egophoric a 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 yard. Existential assertive copula. A 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 yard red is the assertive copula. This copula is used with the second and third person pronouns and implies a definite assertion by the speaker. It can usually be translated 3 ways according to context. There is are, giving an existential sense, to be at, giving a certain location, or by the verb to have, giving a possessive sense. Its negative form is a 1/2 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/2 number 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 yard ma red. It can also be preceded by a qualifying adjective to form the attributive sense in which it can be translated as to be. Existential testimonial copula. A 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/2 or 1/4 dug is the testimonial copula.
It is translated in the same way as a 1/2, 1/2, 1/4, a 1/2, a 1/4, a 1/2 number, 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/4 yod read in all cases, but it differs in a subtle way. It implies that the speaker was a witness to what is being stated. Its negative form is a 1/2, a 1/2 squared, a 1/4, a 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/4 me dug. It can also, like a 1/2, 1/2, 1/4, a 1/2, a 1/4, a 1/2 number, 1/2, a 1/2 yod read, be preceded by a qualifying adjective to form the attributive sense in which it can be translated as to be. Existential ergaphoric copula, a 1/2, 1/2, 1/4, a 1/2 yod is the ergaphoric copula. Like a 1/2, 1/2 squared, a 1/2, a 1/4 unit is associated with the first person, but it instead marks possession and location. It may also be used to express the speaker's opinion of something or an acquaintance with something. Its negative form is a 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/4 med. References